Hi there, I'm Mireia, the host of this podcast. I'm a teacher, a mom, an entrepreneur, and passionate about connection through play and living a meaningful life. This is Rediscovering Childhood, a podcast where I share tools, stories, and conversations to support parents and educators in making more conscious, joyful, and connected choices for the children in our lives. Each episode shares a unique and powerful story, so make sure you subscribe or follow this podcast, as you never know what episode will inspire you next. It is the summer holidays, and we all hear this sentence a lot. All year, but especially during the summer holidays. Mommy, I'm bored. Mommy, I'm bored. Mommy, I'm bored. Maybe it's Daddy, I'm bored, but I don't know. I think it's maybe because I'm the mommy. I just hear Mommy, I'm bored. And how much that triggers us. And this is what I've learned. I stopped working on the actual behavior of the child and started working on my own trigger. Why does it trigger me so much? So I'm going to talk about what really is boredom. And I want you to look at being bored as a learning opportunity for the child and also for yourself, because they're little mirrors and they reflect what's on us and in us and within us. And if we're able to see those little things to help us grow, by doing that, we're helping them, we're helping ourselves, and we're helping our relationship. So it's a triple win. And we don't want to be missing that. So if we change our perspective, our view on what it is to be bored and how that can bring so much learning and awareness for ourselves and for our children. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information on what it is, how to react to it, how to support your children when they're bored. So not that they stop being bored. We'll always be bored at some stage, but what do we do when that happens? How do we cope with it? And how do we stop that from triggering us so much that brings our nerves to the edge and makes us and we become so stressed out, and there's no need for it. There really is no need for it. And then we're going to end this episode with an action plan on what to do when that happens, so everybody stays calm, and then the learning that we can take from this actually takes place. Boredom is simply an emotional state. It's a feeling. Sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we feel really excited, sometimes we feel really nervous or really anxious or really angry or really sad. And sometimes we just feel really bored. And there's one thing that all these feelings have in common, and that's the fact that they're temporary. None of them last forever. None of them. Not the happy one, not the sad one, not the angry one. And that's a journey that's called life. We go through all these different emotions, and it's how we chase the positive emotions, the ones that make us feel good, and how to get away from the ones that don't make us feel good, and then learning what can we learn from those emotions, because being angry, being sad, being anxious, that's teaching us something. So it's not about ignoring them, it's about extracting the learning from it and then letting them go. Same as being bored. What can we learn from it? And you'll see now how being bored is directly linked with creativity, imagination, curiosity, self awareness, and so much more. It's such a powerful feeling. And it's so important that we allow our children to be bored, because that's an opportunity for them to learn so much about themselves and to become more creative. There's a definition for boredom that says it is the experience of wanting something, but being unable to engage in satisfying activity, in something that brings us joy. We want to feel good, to feel joy, to do something fun, but we don't know how. So when your child's telling you they're bored, they're not telling you you failed as a parent. they're not telling you you're doing a bad job. They're not telling you you're not doing enough or you're not being enough as a parent. They're telling you, I want something better than this and I don't know how to get it. If we do everything for them, how are they going to learn to do it by themselves? We're not going to be there the whole time. We're not going to be there for the rest of their life. We're not there 24/7. It is not our job to do everything for them. Our job is to provide a safe space with guidance, with support, with encouragement for them to feel safe and to want and to be able to do all of those things by themselves and become independent. But the more we do for them, we're not helping them. We're doing the opposite. And I know we do it for them because it's so hard when we see our children struggling when they're trying to do something. And we know if we help them, they'll be able to do it and succeed. But what is success? Is success for them to think that they can't do it unless they have our help? They're useless? That's the message they're getting when we step in all the time. You can't do it. I'll have to do it for you because you can't. You're not good enough. Deep inside, that's the message we're sending. We don't want to be doing that. So if we change our perspective on how we see boredom and how we perceive the actual feeling and what's happening when our children say, Mommy, I'm bored, then we can just remain calm and offer the guidance and support that they need at that moment. Boredom is not a problem to be solved. It's a signal that the brain is looking for engagement, for novelty. But it's not our job to give them the solution. It's just to guide them, to offer suggestions, but not to give them the solutions. Because the more we encourage them to find their own solutions, see, they don't want to feel bored. They want to get out of that feeling. Because it's not a happy feeling. It's not a positive feeling. I love being bored. I love when I'm bored. It's great. No, they don't want to be there. So they'll do whatever to stop feeling bored. So eventually they will come up with a solution. And the more they practice that skill, because that is a skill, the faster they'll become at it. So when the boredom periods will become shorter and shorter each time because they'll be very quick at coming up with ideas. Also, they get to know themselves much better. They know what they like and they know the things that bring them joy. And that's a fantastic awareness because how many people growing up still don't know what makes them happy, what brings them joy. So it's a great opportunity for them to learn about themselves. But why does it trigger us so much as parents? We feel so uncomfortable when our child is bored. First of all, it's down to expectations. The main reason why our children being bored triggers us so much is because we had expectations of doing something. We had an idea in our mind. Maybe we have to send an email because we're working. Maybe we have to cook dinner. Or maybe we have to take a phone call. Or anything at all. We had that expectation of, at this time, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to concentrate on this. And then our child is bored and starts screaming or starts shouting or starts telling you, Mommy, I'm bored, Mommy, I'm bored, Mommy, I'm bored, Mommy, I'm bored. And then you can't concentrate. You have so many things in your mind. And it's just such a big distraction. You can't concentrate on what you thought you would be doing and you need to be doing at that moment. So that creates that discomfort. It adds a lot of pressure on what you're doing. But we also have pressure from what we see that we should be doing from social media, from other parents, going to playground. We see parents playing with their kids and we're on the phone because we have to check our email because we're working from home that day, even though we're in the playground. And we feel guilty all the time. Guilty, uncomfortable, and broken expectations. There are lots of reasons why when our children are bored, that's going to trigger us. And it is how we react that's going to encourage or discourage their creativity and coming up with what they can do at that moment. How does being bored spark creativity and imagination And why are those two skills so important for their future? There are few studies that prove that creativity and imagination are two of the top three, or in the top three. Creativity, in fact, is in the top three. It's a number three skill of the future, and it's a skill that can set your child for success, because creativity means thinking outside the box. It means solutions. It means finding solutions, problem solving, decision making. That all comes from creativity. It's thinking outside the box. It's and it's directly linked with imagination. Imagination allows us to see what hasn't happened yet. Everything comes from imagination. This laptop I have in front of me comes from someone's imagination. Someone someday imagined, created this idea in their mind. That was their imagination. And then they made it happen. Same with fire, same with light, same with a TV, same with cars, same with everything that's around you. So you just look around you. Notice all of the things that are around you right now. They all come from someone's imagination. And when our children are bored, that's a door to imagination. That's a door to creativity. It's a door to the side of their brain that's going to help them create those connections that will spark their curiosity and expand their creativity and imagination. Think outside the box. Come up with solutions. I'm bored. What can I do? What's around me? And how do I use what's around me right now to entertain me? And that builds also a really healthy attachment to you and to themselves, because they don't depend on you to be entertained and to have fun and to have ideas. They depend on their own mind. And that's the only mind that will never leave them. Friendships, relationships, family members will all leave at some stage, but they'll always be with themselves. So we need to empower their own person to be as independent as they can be. So if we change again that perspective on how we see boredom and see it as a learning opportunity for our children and their success in their future, it's a whole game changer, because you won't get that trigger of discomfort and guilt and blame and pressure. It's going to free you up from that. Dr. Sandy Mann is a neuroscientist, and he says that boredom allows the mind to wander, which activates the default mode network in the brain, the same network used for creative problem solving and reflection. So there are lots of studies that prove that being bored activates that part of the brain that's more the critical thinking, self-awareness, the resilience. All of this, it's all linked together. And the more you practice one skill, the more you develop all of the other skills, because it's a cycle, it's linked. As you practice, you practice creativity. When you're bored, you come up with a solution, and then you're making a decision, and you're learning about yourself, and you're developing your resilience, because the coping mechanism with being in a space with an emotion of discomfort, which is being bored. So you're developing that resilience, and then you're developing your confidence as well, because you're realizing that you have it in you. And your self-esteem, you feel proud of yourself for coming up with these ideas. So it's a win-win. We have to allow space and time for that. It's an investment. We invest time in it, and it gets shorter and shorter each time. So as the child grows, the time you spend supporting those needs becomes shorter and shorter. And then you feel so proud of yourself, and then you look at them and you see them making those really, really wise and healthy decisions for themselves, and you feel so proud of yourself, and everything starts making sense. For children, being bored is like a blank canvas, and it requires thinking, it requires connections in their brain. So it's work. It requires work. And that's why it's hard. And that's why they'll be resistant to it. They don't want to. They'll ask you to come up with solutions for themselves because we're all wired to make things as easy as possible, to want things as easy as possible. So they'll ask you to do that. But doesn't mean you have to. You just encourage them. You become like a coach and guide them through that process of being bored into being creative. When we see our children being bored, we very quickly compensate with that discomfort that we feel with very quick solutions. We hand over devices. I was getting home the other day and I saw a parent picking up their child from this childminder, getting the child in the car, and the first thing I heard was, "Would you like the phone?" The child had spent the whole day at the childminders. And it's that little moment of connection that's so important. How was your day? What was your favorite thing today? Who did you play with? They're not open ended questions. Did you do anything today? No. Okay, here's your phone. They're closed questions with closed answers. They're very easy because the child's tired, the parent is tired. But those little moments of connection mean a lot. But if we hand our devices straight away, first of all, it just becomes a habit. We think that asking questions or having a conversation is going to be a lot more complicated, but it's not when we build that habit, when we make it a habit of connection, and it brings us joy instead of resistance. Oh, I have to talk to my child now. Yeah, because as they grow older, they'll also talk to you because you've role modeled that habit of asking questions, having an interest in how their day went, and that's going to bounce back to you. That's going to create an interest for them to want to know about you as well. But if we don't build that, if we don't create those moments of connection, if we don't build that connection, that base, it's not going to come back to us. And then they're teenagers and we wonder, why are they not talking to us? They're not telling me anything. But we didn't role model that. So that connection is broken. And it comes from those little, very simple moments together, making a little effort. But that little effort at first becomes a habit. And that habit brings us so much joy in the long term. We also turn on the TV straight away. I'm not saying no TV, I'm not saying no devices, but it can't always be our first resource. TV, devices have to be a plan B, plan C, plan D. But we need to have other alternatives first. We leave them. They're the ones that are bored, not us. We're okay. So just leave them. They'll come up with something. We also fill every moment with structured activities all the time, something to do all the time. So we're not giving them space to just free play. Free play is so important. It's essential for their development because free play offers them, first of all, an opportunity to practice things that are learning. They observe things all the time. They listen to you. They listen to other people. They look at things. They discover the world. So free play allows that space for them to practice all the things that are going on in their mind, things that they hear at home, things that they hear from their friends, or things that are going on in their relationships with their friendships, in school, at home, things that are learning because they saw it in a program on TV, or they read it in a book, or a conversation that caused an impact, that impacted them in a way, that they heard someone arguing, anything like that. They might do then a bit of role play and bring that into action. And by replicating that conversation, they will make sense of it. And that's how they make sense of the world around them. And that's how they start building that connection between themselves and the world, and how they make sense of themselves in the world. So free play is so important. If they need to move, they'll move. It just allows them to do whatever it is that they need. And we talk so much about inclusion and and providing whatever it is that they need and covering all their needs. And but what is it that they need? If we don't allow that free space for them to explore and show us what it is that they need, or learn for themselves what it is that they need, we'll never know. So how are we going to give them the solutions and the support that they need if we're not creating that space to observe and understand and learn what they need, and they don't even know because they don't get to explore? So free play is so important, and free play comes with being bored, because being bored, it's nearly connected to it. If you give them a free space where they can do anything, if anything they want, the free choice can be really overwhelming. So being bored can also be a way of saying, I'm really overwhelmed. I have so many choices here. I don't know what to do. How many times we open our wardrobe and have so many clothes there, so many dresses, trousers, t-shirts. It's not an empty wardrobe, and yet we say, I have nothing to wear. Sometimes it's because we've seen those clothes for too long, or it could be that we have too much choice and we're overwhelmed and we don't know what to choose. So we say we've nothing to wear. So they're the same with their toys and their multiple choice possibilities on what to do with free play. They become overwhelmed and they say, I'm bored. And then you get frustrated because you spent so much money buying all these toys, and yet they say, I'm bored. I've nothing to do. Or I've no one to play with. That's a lot of the time, that's what they really mean. I've no one to play with, because they're looking for that piece of connection. You can schedule times of connection. That's what I do sometimes, especially in the summer where I work from home, and they'll come and talk to me and I'm sending an email. I need my full concentration sending that email. Mommy, I need this. Mommy, I need help with this. Mommy. And then I send all the wrong things in that email, or I never send the email. 2 weeks later, I get back to them and I say, so I'm still waiting for a reply on this. I never sent that email. I thought I sent it in my head. I never actually sent anything because I got distracted so many times. So you just schedule time. Look, 5 o'clock, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 o'clock, it's my time with you unconditionally. No distractions, no phones, no nothing. We'll spend 1 hour together and you get the attention, full attention that you need. But right now, I need that time to myself to do what I need to do. And that shows them commitment and responsibility as well. It's not selfish, it's teaching them so much. And again, it's role modeling what you want them to do with their life as well. It's not all about being together and giving you everything that I have, giving you all of my time. It's prioritizing yourself as well and your own needs. And that's what you want for them in the long term. You want them to see that they prioritize their own needs as well. You're role modeling that. When we turn off their boredom, when they're bored and we give them devices, we turn on the telly, we find activities to do, we're reducing their creativity and problem solving. We are lowering their frustration tolerance. We are creating that dependence on external stimulation. So they're constantly on that need for dopamine. They constantly need a hit of dopamine, whether it's from phones, from activities, something new from you to give them exactly what they need. And they find it more difficult to entertain themselves later because they're addicted to your solutions and they haven't learned how to find their own solutions. And they're less self aware. They don't have that intrinsic motivation coming from themselves, from within them. I want to come up with a solution because I know. See, they've experienced fun, they've experienced excitement, they've experienced, and it's only when they've experienced those things that they can create expectations for their life in wanting to experience these again. So when they're bored, it's because their expectation says, I should be having all this fun. I should be really excited. I should be doing all of these things. But I'm not. I'm here not knowing what to do. So that goes back to our trigger and how guilty we feel when they say I'm bored, because we feel like we're not doing enough. But all they're doing really is recognizing that they want a different feeling because they've experienced it before. And that's intrinsical motivation. They want to feel that again. Their motivation is coming from within them. I want to feel this way, and I need to find a way to get back to that feeling. And they will create it themselves. They will allow for whatever activity to happen so they can experience that feeling. And it is in the building and creating and coming up with ideas to get that to experience that feeling of joy again that comes from within. That's their motivation. So we're building that intrinsic motivation that comes from within them. It's not because if they do something they get a prize. If we tell them what to do, they'll do it. They get that dopamine hit, they'll get that excitement, and then they're bored again, back to scratch. And then they'll need us again, and we need to constantly, and then we get stressed out because we need to get on with our life. We need to do all of the things that we need to do as parents. We need to do our work. We need to do everything. And on top of that, we need to sort out our children's life constantly. We don't need to do that. That's not our job. Our job is to cover basic needs of safety and food and love and support and guidance and encouragement. But they're the ones that come up with the ideas, the solutions that work for their life, because that's what we're teaching them. And it is through childhood and through play that they get to practice all of the skills, develop all of the skills for them. When they become an adult, they can become independent, and they have the creativity, the resilience, the motivation, the self-awareness, everything in them. And we know then they'll go into the world and they're as safe as they can be and as ready as they can be. And we've detached ourselves from those skills. Their skills depend on them, not on us. And if we're not there, they're okay. They're their skills. They have them with them. They can't leave them behind. Those skills now are attached to our children. So all we need to do is work on our trigger and see it as a learning opportunity for themselves. So whenever they say, I'm bored, we don't react and panic. We pause. We reframe and we trust. We pause and we notice the urge to rescue. We reframe and we say, boredom is safe. Boredom is a teacher. It's a learning opportunity. It is good. I'm glad you're bored. That's okay. You're not the only one. That's okay. And you trust. You trust that your child can learn to navigate this feeling. And you're there to give them the support and the encouragement, but you trust them. So what can we offer? What can we say instead? So instead of jumping in with solutions, what we can do is we validate. We say things like, I know you're feeling bored. That's okay. So we acknowledge that. We don't say, just get over it. We acknowledge that. And then we normalize it. And we let them know that they're not the only ones feeling bored. We get bored as well. So we can say that. Yeah, I can see you're really bored. I get bored sometimes as well. And when I'm bored, I do X, Y, Z. And we'll talk about role modeling now in a minute as well. So we validate it, we acknowledge it, we normalize it, and then we empower them. I trust you'll find something to do. We believe in them. I know you got this. I know you can do it. And that's the encouragement piece. And then we guide them. We can offer alternatives. We can suggest things. Would you like some ideas? Or would you like to come up with something yourself? So we give them choice. We validate, we normalize, we empower, and we guide. I know you're feeling bored. That's okay. Sometimes I feel bored too. But I know you'll find something to do. You always do. I've seen you do that before. And I know you can do it again. You've loads of ideas in your mind. I've no doubt of that. Would you like me to help you with more ideas? Or would you just like to come up with your own? That's it. And you step back and watch the magic happen. And it is how we role model that as well. What do we do when we are bored? Because it's not about what we say to them when they're bored. They're always watching. So what do we do when we are bored? They're watching us. If we go on our phone every time we're bored, how can we expect them to do anything different than that? Do we read a book? Do we take on a hobby? Do we do some journaling? Do we just rest and do nothing? Do we draw? Do we go for a walk? Do we call a friend? Do we do a jigsaw? Do we make popcorn and watch a movie? What do we do when we are bored? We have free time. Maybe we don't get to be bored, but we have free time. What do we do? And it is important that we make time for free time because we need to role model that. And self-care is so important. Again, it's not selfish. We're teaching them so much by role modeling what we do when we have free time for ourselves. So just to go through these again, a simple action plan for when your child says, I'm bored. First, you pause and breathe. You take a moment to remind yourself that boredom is safe and it doesn't need immediate fixing. We then validate and normalize. We can say something like, you feel bored right now. That happens to everybody sometimes. And then we invite reflection. Do you want help thinking of something, or would you like a little time to decide? There's no rush. There is no rush. Maybe just take a look around and see what you can do. And offer gentle prompts, like you could draw, you could build something, maybe you can make something. Remember that cardboard box you made last year, turned it into a doll's house? You had loads of fun doing that. Would you like to maybe make one again? You might explore the garden or read. You could create a game, you could create a story. You're absolutely loving that book you're reading right now. Why don't you create your own comic? That would be so cool. And then you could read it to me when you're finished. But that's it. You don't need to give them any more ideas than that. Just a few suggestions, because that's going to get their engines thinking in their brain moving, and it's going to create connections from whatever you say. They might not necessarily do exactly what you say, but it's going to plant a little seed in their mind, and that's going to spark something else. And that's when they know what to do. And celebrate the effort. Give them space to create their ideas, to come up with their ideas, and then celebrate their effort. But not by saying, well done, you did this, well done. It's not about the well done. It's about coming up with the ideas. You want to reinforce that they have lots of ideas, that they have that creativity within them to come up with solutions for things. And that's going to empower their confidence and their self-esteem. To see boredom as a doorway. When children go through it, they learn creativity, they develop confidence and resilience. So all you need to do is trust them.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and follow so you'll never miss out on upcoming episodes. See you next time!